Hey folks! In this video we're going to be taking a look at the movie The Red Violin and doing a little reaction review of the Luthier scenes on it. I had never seen this movie before. A friend said you have to watch it. So let's take a look. And since I'm sure I'm going to get copyright strike on this one, let's make it double and stay tuned for the end of the video. There is going to be a bonus feature. So let's take a look at it. Interesting photography. I can see the reflection of the camera lens there. Ah, they're violins. That's a viol. There's spool clamps. So we're authentic so far. Samuel L. Jackson is in it. I like him. Not sure what would be bubbling there at the fire. Probably glue, maybe. Joshua Bell also. I also like him.
Bene, bene. Esecuzione perfetta. Ha fatto un gioiello, ragazzo mio. Perfetto per un cortigiano e per un prete. A stimpellare.
I love his Italian.
A lucidare ogni domenica dopo la messa. In altre parole, questo, il mio nome, non lo porterà mai. Stavi a mettere dentro la tua rabbia, ragazzo mio.
Not good advice, first of all. Second, don't smash instruments. Come on. I don't know. I know workers in general and especially apprentices have a history of being quite abused. Nowadays we call them interns. And I don't know if anyone actually did this whole smashing. There is a story that I heard once. It's one of the famous grand master violinists from the past. I think it was Heifetz, but don't quote me on that one. Supposedly the story goes that one of his students played in a subpar instrument, and he bought his student a really good one. I think it was a Stradivari. And so when it came time for their lesson, he took his student's instrument and said, "You're not going to play on this crap anymore," and smashed it, and then gave him the really good violin. I would appreciate the really good violin, but don't go smashing instruments. It's not good. Don't do that. Poor guy. So I have read the synopsis on this movie, and the way it goes, basically we're jumping back and forth in time, following the story of this violin and all the events that it has been through.
Against the telephone now. Against you, sir. 1,775,000.
I guess that's supposed to be this world's version of Teresio or Sotheby's or Christie's, the big auction houses.
1,900. Fair warning. I'm selling now at $1,950,000. And so.
At the good old days when you could buy a Strat for only $2 million.
The last sale of the evening, lots number 72 on the turntable there. The star of the night. And where is she? The last violin of Niccolo Bussotti, 1681.
I don't think that's a real maker. I'll check, but I think he's fictitious.
Here she is now, lot 72, the so-called Red Violin. And this time, the last order bid is at $250,000. A lot of interest here, of course. So now let's open the floor, and who will start us off? 260,000. Good evening, Mr.
Creepy humming. Ah, Cremona. So just a little history lesson there for the people who aren't aware of it. Cremona, it's a city in Italy. It's a very ancient city. They say it's been founded by the Romans. Way back in, I don't know, 200 BC. I'll put the correct date somewhere. And around the 1500s, it became one of the foremost... It was Cremona and Brescia. Became the foremost center of violin making ever, because a guy there named Andrea Amati, he basically invented the violin as we know it. It was slightly different, the neck angle was slightly different, the bass bar was slightly smaller than our violins nowadays, but basically that he invented the violin, and that's how it's been for 500 years. I think it's the official date is given more or less 1520 when the first shows up. Scholars debate all this stuff, of course, but that's more or less it, and it started in Cremona in Italy.
Nicolò.
So this lady, she's the wife of the violin maker, and she's pregnant.
Questo è un violino.
Sì, ma è diverso.
Ma è finito, lo devo verniciare.
Ma c'è qualcosa che...
È perfetto. Tutti gli altri sono roba da niente. Roba da vendere a Robby vecchio da buttare alla spezzatura.
He's kind of full of himself, isn't he?
Ho fatto il nostro figlio, Anna. Il nostro figlio sarà un musicista.
Ma è troppo grande per un bambino.
Crescerà.
So, skipping ahead here, she died in labor, which was horrifyingly common back then. And he's devastated, and I guess he's dealing with grief getting back to work. It's a very gunky varnish. It's almost like paint. This scene here, it's absolutely perfect because of the instruments that you see there in the background. They have the Baroque fingerboards, the fingerboards at the period that this scene is taking place. They were not like we know the solid ebony fingerboards. They were usually inlaid fingerboards. The angle was different, and also they are much shorter. The neck angle was also different, and those are Baroque instruments. It's what we call from the period. And that looks like a Baroque viol, even. And I think that's absolutely accurate. I need a rating system to give it the accuracy. I'm going to use strads. So this scene gets 10 strads out of 10. It's just perfect. So we skipped ahead backwards again, and the violin was taken to this monastery place, and I guess it's given to these child musicians to play. And I love it still has the Baroque fingerboard, so it's still period accurate. And what's his name? I'll look it up. He became really famous. He was a child prodigy. And he's actually playing. Look at the fingering, it's accurate. Yes! Now, the kid was taken from the monastery to Vienna to be trained to play as a prodigy on this prince's court. And he dropped dead. He is really dead. It's terrible. So the kid was buried with the violin, and I guess I think they're supposed to be gypsies. They have robbed his grave and took the violin. And now it's with them. So this guy is supposed to be the movie's version of Niccolo Paganini. And if you know anything about Paganini, he was basically known as he's known as the original rock star. And so it's an interesting performance going on there. And he got the violin now from the gypsies. The gypsies were on his land, and he heard them playing the violin. He went to them and said, well, you guys can stay here, but you give me the violin. That's basically what happened. And it's been modernized at some point, so it has a longer fingerboard and ebony also. And I guess that's I'm a little confused because there are parts that he's playing it, and there are parts that it's definitely not. So there's some editing trickery going on there. It's nice. He's a good actor. People get obsessed with this violin. Precious. Now, fast forwarding again, the movie's version of Paganini, he had a lover, and they were doing fine, but suddenly she decided she wanted to go to Russia. And they were corresponding with each other, and he kept saying, come back to me, and she said, oh, I'm still doing my thing here in Russia. And he said, well, if you don't come back to me, I'll find somebody else. He found somebody else, and now suddenly she's back into their house, and caught him in bed with his new lover, and she shot the violin off his hands. So the movie's Paganini killed himself. He couldn't bear to live with what was going on in his life. And this guy, he was his drug dealer, and I guess when the violinist was dead, he just took the violin for himself and ran away with it. And I guess now we're in China. On a pawn shop. Ouch. It's easy to fix. That type of damage is easy to fix. Interesting way of telling if the money is authentic. And the violin sat on a shelf in a pawn shop in China for quite a while. Oh yeah, the guy grew old. That's been a while. Oh. Now this lady, she was the little girl on the pawn shop who got the violin. Now she's grown up. And this is going through the Cultural Revolution in China, where a lot of stuff got destroyed. And she just saw somebody's some music teacher's violin get thrown into a fire, into a bonfire. So she wants, I guess, to save her own violin because, well, this is the special violin.
谁呀？是你啊！你吓了我一跳，我还以为一个人呢。
Now her son caught her doing that, and he's intrigued by the violin. And this violin would not be in tune from sitting under the floorboards for however long, even if she had just played it the day before. This was before synthetic strings, and it would not be in tune. She would have had to tune it before playing. So we're now in present times again, and Samuel L. Jackson, he's been called in to check out these violins. They were brought in from China, where they were found, I suppose, and they're going to be sold on auction. And he's an instrument appraiser.
Ah, here she is. It's a beautiful specimen.
Never heard anybody refer to them as specimens.
Over here, if you'd like to take a look. Of the less promising entries, some of them are pretty bad.
Oh, they're not that bad. I guess he's instantly intrigued by it.
Take a look at the corners. Not too bad. I don't think we have to touch them.
So they're doing some sort of analysis before restoration.
A lot of work to get it this far. Turn of the century hack job with some horse glue and a patch. So I had to reset the neck. That was the big job. Sound post, tailpiece, new bridge, of course. But the body itself is remarkably good, so I'm just going to clean it up, strip back some varnish.
No.
No what?
I told you before, don't touch the varnish.
Yes!
Well, that's not going to be easy.
Yes! We always say, don't touch the varnish. The varnish is basically, it's sacred. My excitement, I'm geeking out here. When you're restoring a violin, general rule, if it's a valuable instrument, you don't want to touch the varnish, you don't want to restore the varnish, because the varnish is incredibly important on a violin. It's an incredibly complicated thing. With the moment you start messing with it, not only you take away what the original maker did, but you might actually dampen the violin by putting new varnish in it. It might soak up into the wood. So yeah, don't touch the varnish. It's a rule.
Well, if there's a problem, I'll do it myself. Complete LIG is a resonance test, mass specs, and let's get some varnish samples off to the lab, okay?
He suspects something.
This instrument is not a priority, okay? Every minute.
That's an interesting workshop he has there. It's more like a laboratory. That's old technology from the 90s, but we have endoscopes. I have an endoscope that I use to look inside of the violins, and it can be quite interesting. Cuore, not cure.
You ever
Art.
the Red Violin?
Sure. Frederick Pope Busotti, sure I have stories.
How about copies?
There's one in London, only one I know of, supposed to be a copy commissioned by Pope.
You know who has it? Well, we know for sure we have it beside me. I can date it within the year. We still have this varnish that doesn't configure, but We can run some comparison tests.
Doesn't
and see if
configure.
this
Never heard
is
of
the
that
source.
term used also.
What?
This is interesting about the copy, asking if there's copies of the violins. We have been making copies of famous violins throughout the centuries. I have made copies of violins. And Paganini, he took his favorite violin, the Il Canone, to Jean-Baptiste Vuillaume to have it worked on, and also Vuillaume wanted to make a copy of it. And Paganini was terrified that Vuillaume was really good, and Paganini was terrified that he was going to be giving a copy back. So supposedly he made some secret markings on the instrument to know which one was his and which one was the one that might have been a copy. Vuillaume made a copy, indeed, of the Il Canone, and Paganini said he could hardly tell them apart. Only playing them, because he knew intimately his instrument, he could tell them apart. And if I'm not mistaken, Hilary Hahn plays on the Vuillaume copy of the Il Canone. I think that is her primary violin that she plays on. So this is also accurate. I'll give it another 10 strads in accuracy.
What you're saying is, anyway, true. People could get a little excited.
Wonderful.
Yes.
I have the recording. Pretty good strad, don't you think?
I feel a little bit tight on the top, a little bit strangled over the break.
Oh, to me, it's very clean and precise. Of course, it would have to be played by a master.
What do you guess?
Burn!
1.7, 1.8 million.
Not bad.
Trust me on this.
What else do you have?
That's about it. Thanks for coming. I hope you don't have an orchestra waiting.
Oh, they can wait. They can wait. No problem. What about this here?
Oh, he spotted.
No, not that one.
Nice little piece.
But not for you.
I will try it.
No. Don't play it.
Why not?
Yes, why not?
Well, I've just repaired it. It's still fragile. I don't even know why it's here.
I will be very gentle. Don't worry.
That is horrendously bad manner. You take a violin, somebody tells you don't touch it, you don't touch it. Don't play it, you don't play it. That's tremendously bad manners.
What do you want me to do with that one, the Pope copy?
I'll take it back to the hotel with me.
Well,
I have
you got
no
the
idea
money's
what
worth.
they're
That
doing
was
for
a
that
very good
techno
copy.
stuff
Nice
there.
violin, but nothing like this one. This is the single most perfect acoustic machine I have ever seen.
Children, you have any?
No, I don't, but I know what you mean. I would love to have this baby for myself.
Really? What would you do?
Take it apart, find out how it works, take some eigenmode readings on the individual plates.
No idea
I
what
don't
those...
think we do.
Oh, yes, I do.
Hi, Ash. Oh, you wanna watch the movie too? I love you too. So I guess he got confirmation that it's human blood. And we're back in the past. So I guess he didn't just get back to work to deal with his grief, isn't it, Ash? He didn't just get back to work. I guess he took his dead wife's body, and I get the feeling I have to censor it from here on because I make 70 cents of monetization, but I like my monetization on YouTube, so... You could make a brush out of human hair. I mean, natural bristle brushes are made of animal hair, so... So he got blood from his dead wife and is now mixing with whatever that is. Looks like a shellac or something. I don't think you can make varnish with human blood or any blood whatsoever. No. I don't know. You guys want me to try making varnish out of... No, I'm gonna regret this. I'm gonna regret this. Don't make me make varnish out of blood, please. And that explains why it looked so gunky in the beginning.
Down to you now. 1,950,000. Not yours, sir. Not yours, Paul. It is 1,950,000.
Is he gonna...
H2O. Better there now. 1,950,000.
Excuse me, I have to get the last
He...
All on that?
Son of a... He did the old switcheroo with the violin.
And so, lady on my left.
Ah. Unbelievable.
The last LD from 72 on the table there, the star of the night.
She noticed. She noticed.
Violin of Niccolo Busotti, 1681. That's if she will give us the pleasure.
Oh, she knows something's wrong.
There she is now, about 72, the so-called Red Violin. 280,000, back to you, sir. Here, 300,000, back of the hall. 320, I see you, Suzanne. 340, 340.
Now, I've been to this kind of auction before, and here's the thing about them. The top bidders are never there in the auction floor. You're always bidding against somebody on the phone or a representative. And Elizabeth Taylor, when they auctioned her jewels, the celebrities who bought the stuff, they weren't there. It was over the phone or somebody else was bidding in their name. It's I don't like it. I think you should be there in person to buy the stuff. So that one will get 5 strads out of 10. Oh, that's missing the tag.
Down to you now. 2 million, Mr. Roselski.
Mr. Morris? Mr. Morris?
2,100,000. 2,200,000.
Catch.
Excuse me. Is this what you're looking for?
Down to you, 2,200,000.
Yes.
Your coat. 2,200,000. 2,300,000. 2,400,000.
Yes, see.
$2,400,000.
Have it.
All done then.
I guess that's supposed to be the bad guy, because he was impolite, he took the violin without asking, and he played when told not to play it. So he's the bad guy, we're supposed to root against him, and he got the fake, well, copy. And Samuel L. Jackson got the real stuff. From the story perspective, I think it's cool. But from a real-life perspective, no, that is absolutely unacceptable. You never, never, never do something like that. We need honesty, we need integrity. And never play smart with instruments like that. Totally unacceptable. But I like the movie. That was kind of cool. That they went there. This whole movie is kind of... Uncanny Valley all the way. It's like it made varnish out of blood, and
but it's over now, and I'm coming home.
There was grave robbing. And...
Oh yeah, may I speak to her? Hi, honey. It's Daddy. How are you? Oh, I miss you too. I'm coming home, and honey, I'm bringing you something very special.
Oh, he's gonna give the stolen violin to his little daughter. How heartwarming. That was pretty cool. I actually know a story, a similar proportions, and I have heard things before, but I have heard stories of things like that going on in the business, in the violin business. And it's bad that it gives it a bad reputation. You have to be honest, you have to have integrity. You cannot let this kind of temptation do it to you. It is normal to... you find an instrument, these things, they have life of their own, they have personalities, and it's normal to get enthralled by it. It's like, I must have this. But no, you cannot steal it. Don't do that. So, the Red Violin, I'm impressed. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it, actually. And I'm gonna give it a full 10 strads out of 10, because all the luthier scenes that they have, they were mighty accurate. I don't know if you can make varnish with blood. I'm kind of curious, morbidly curious about giving that a try. But let me know in the comments if you want me to do that. Oh, I'm going to regret this. But historically, it was very accurate, the depictions of the instruments, the way they changed throughout the centuries. And even the playing, they had actual players doing the playing. It wasn't, the horrible faking that you see in so many movies out there. So, yes, this one, as far as a luthier and a violin enthusiast person goes, I would give it a 10 strads out of 10. That's very good. Now for some bonus content here. Some viewers said I should check out this movie, Whisper of the Heart. It's a Studio Ghibli movie, or Ghibli? Ghibli? I'll go with Ghibli. It's a Studio Ghibli movie where one of the characters, he is actually studying to become a luthier. So let's take a look at it. So a quick summary of what's going on in this movie so there is some context. This girl, she followed a cat into this place, this antique shop, where she befriended the guy, the owner of the antique shop, an old man. And now she's fascinated with this cat statue that the old man had. And she has come to look at the cat statue again. And she met now this boy who just let her in so she could stare at the cat statue. Do people do that? Sit there and staring at statues? Is that a thing people do? Ah, yes, time to sit here and stare at the statue of David for a while. She sat there staring at that cat statue for quite some time. We're 1 second in and I already love it. He has a towel on his workbench. Luthiers usually have a towel or a piece of rug or a carpet or a rubber mat or something. That's some nice sharp tools.
Hey, had enough?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So, is that a real violin you're making?
Oh, yeah.
Can I see?
Sure. It's nearly finished.
Wow. You carved the entire thing yourself? By hand?
How else would you do it?
With a CNC machine.
They've been making violins the exact same way for 300 years, but whether or not they sound any good is totally dependent on the craftsman's skill.
Materials matter a little
Did
too.
you make all those violins?
No, of course not. We hold violin-making classes here.
Wow. That's really fantastic. I can't believe you can make something like this. It's like magic, isn't it?
You're so weird.
This is Boo
I can't
making an
believe
appearance
some of the
here.
stuff that comes out of your mouth.
She's skittish.
It is magic. You made a violin pop out of a piece of wood.
Anyone can make a violin of that caliber.
No.
I'm not close to being good enough.
That is something interesting. Luthiers, often the ones I've met, they tend to be humble in that aspect. I hope I'm humble in that aspect. Unlike the guy on the previous movie,
for me? Just a little
that
bit?
I made the perfect violin.
Come on,
That was very,
please.
a lot of
Alright,
ego there.
But you're gonna have to sing along.
What?
Need hugs? I don't think you can sing to the saraband.
Are you ready? I'm pretty sure you know this one.
Gosh. Come on. Is that a Take Me Road, Country Road by John Denver? Yeah?
I dreamed of living alone but fearless.
I love the violin molds there, the forms, those are used to give shape to the ribs of the violin, and he has them hanging there in the back. I love that.
Just reveal your brave face, they'll never know you lie. Country road, they lead me home. Though I belong there, all on my own. Destiny calls, motionless I stone. No, I can't go. Country road. No matter how dark the world's inside me, I'll never stop.
Impromptu accompaniment.
But now I have to walk so fast, running, sprinting to
He has a viola da gamba, he has a lute, and the other one has a viola da gamba. And a tambourine. Snare drum. His fingering is pretty nice. Actually, they animated the fingering on the violin really well.
Country road.
They changed the instrument. What is that? I have to look it up. Viola da gamba solo. Now record again. He has a lot of shoulder tension on his playing. His bow arm should be more relaxed. It showed that he was lifting it too much. That was a really nice. I'm gonna give it also a 10 strads out of 10 on the luthier and the violin making scene there, because everything on his workshop was recognizable and legit. And that's also a very nice, heartwarming palate cleanser to watch after the Red Violin. It's a good movie, but it's a heavy movie. And this is such a nice little movie. So that is it for this reaction video. It's enormous. We're probably in what, half an hour, 40 minutes already? Holy crap. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any suggestions, any comments, please leave them below. And I'll see you next time. Oh, you want to stare at David too? Okay.